live? Are we live? I think we're live. Yep, we're live. Sounds off, right? Yeah, my sound's off. Hello. So we're going to be streaming this. Some of you may recognize this. Well, I have no viewers, but I post this to YouTube. So, yeah, I do have some viewers. Eventually. But yeah, so I named this Twitch City so I make sure I don't play this save game anytime besides when I'm live streaming it. Because I do have other cities. But it's paused right now. Well, you can see it's paused down there. I haven't streamed in a while because I still want, I don't have the headset splitter still. For a while I wasn't streaming because I don't have it yet. I'm bad with putting things off, that's why I don't have it. I also have the game sound on, so I'm going to check how that sounds. Nah. Yeah, I'm gonna have to check how that sounds. Good way to check that is to trigger a disaster. Okay, that's good to know. I sound okay. Everything sounds... well, do I? And you can hear me over it too, which is nice. I was concerned about that. The tornado's already over and we're not even out of the month. I have almost no room to work with, though. If anyone's played this before, you know the burst is a power plant. You don't want to build any connections to neighbors. Well, at least not early. Wait till later. Well, early in the game, you don't really want to... It's stupid terrain. You also don't want to build bridges. It's too early in the game. But that's a lot of maintenance. It's also expensive to build it right away, too. So, we're just going to do that. In fact, I'm going to... power lines. It's not telling me what. You got road and rail. What are you complaining about? Now, as for the commercial zone, I like to wait until I have a high demand for it to actually place any of it. Because I also don't build my fire station until I have this all developed. This stupid mountain is in the way. I'll make my blocks in here then. Start over there, be down here. Now I'm not sure, once this is all developed, I'm not sure which zone's going to end up having more demand. We'll see. Yeah, like I said, I'm not going to build the fire station until this all develops. Because the fire station's an expense that I don't want to really put up with at this time in the game. Early in the game, stuff's... Although eventually we will be able to afford everything. Then after fire station, you want to eventually get a police station. Although you can also just do a neighborhood watch if you want to save even more money. Neighborhood watch is a little expensive, but it's less expensive than a police station. And it's also not as effective either, but it's a good thing kind of to do early on, just to reduce the crime a little bit. Because I think the crime goes to high if you don't have a neighborhood watch. I don't know how that works. Well, crime's is low, but then again, there's not many people living here yet. All we're just waiting for this to develop. Now, I like to be careful with the commercial, because like I said, it's a very low demand most of the time. I only play this on easy difficulty though, and I don't know, but I actually, in one of my other cities, I got a centered playing style around it, and it's actually doing really well. I wish it would do a little better. But I think in that style it's supposed to go for perfect spacing. In this I want to do a little of that too, but I want to do it in a different way. It looks like I can actually fill in some stuff. That's a good idea. The thing I hate the most though is trying to space things, because people don't want to live next to industrial, which is kind of obvious. I wouldn't want to live next to a factory. Pretty sure most people wouldn't want to live next to a factory. This is developing a lot slower than I would think. Most people just don't really hate not having a fire station. But they do demand police right now. Zero? What do you mean 0? Okay, I don't know what happened. I broke it. It can't go up. Why does it go the opposite if you don't hold it down enough? You can actually put in a neighborhood watch. There's some truck outside or something. I don't know if you guys can hear that. I just noticed I was silent for a while then. Sorry about that. I would build that, but you don't even know how to do it. I also don't know what is with this demand. It's a high demand for this, yet it's not like... No! For some reason, this game does that to me, where it's like... I click on power lines and it's like, you want railroads, right? Let's do that, maybe we'll get it to spread a little bit. Yeah, and because you will almost never get a chance to play as commercial, you should always wait until there's a demand for it to zone it, ever. And usually I wait for a high demand. And they have to lower taxes for just a year. Just to let people move in. here I am just sitting here waiting for people to build houses. Not even many new things were built. What's going on down here? It's a high unemployment. Yeah, high unemployment with massive demand for residential. That doesn't make any sense. We got a bunch of traffic here. It's actually a lot of traffic. We got 70, 77, 80 cars per minute. For some reason this area is developing better than this area. We got condominiums and stuff there, but out this way, it's a whole bunch of just abandoned houses. And that has abandoned stuff too. They feel like they're too far away from. They feel like they're too far away from the work or something. I guess they kind of feel too far. I don't know why, but you have to build zone residential really close. Like you have to put it away from it, but you have to also put it very close to it. The industrial. Oh, I remember one time I had a city that was a river, and I put all the industrial on one side and the residential and commercial on the other. I'm not sure why, but it worked very well on that save game. Maybe I'll have to zone some industrial down this way. That may be the only way to get them to actually build on those houses. But this stupid lake's in the way down here. It's also not developing any new buildings on that one side for some reason, despite the high demand. I usually leave it at least a gap of 3 and a road between residential and industrial. So I may have to do that here. maybe a little bit close, but it's the only way to get them to see. Right the second I zoned that, a whole bunch of construction appeared. And all these are now actually abandoned. That was what it was. It was too far away from the work. There's a bunch of room to work with down here. I normally create like a map that's mostly flat to make my cities. I thought about why not work with the default just for Twitch. Make things a little difficult on myself. See, now we actually have stuff happening. Before we didn't have stuff happening. See, it even helped these zones back here. Now see, the commercial demand is going up like crazy. And it's now at its highest, so I can place a bunch. See, look at all the construction. It's 6,000, I forget. I think it's 10,000 when you get to City Hall. Sometimes I even leave the commercial at the zones it's at and let the demand go all the way up. And stay that way for a little bit. I'm going to remove these links. Oh no, that's 7. for the most part, if you just follow demand, you'll be fine with pretty much anything you want to do. So you can pretty much do what you want as long as you follow the demand of the zones. And pay attention down here. It says water shortage reported, but you don't really need to build water until a little later. They're just saying that because there is no actual water. It looks like we're starting to have some issues again. I also keep this open. Unemployment usually. See, it seems like just no matter what you do, commercial is always changing. So, like, see, I didn't even really place any commercial, but it went down. I'll click on its own, it seems. So, I kind of like the start we have here. So, if anyone's wondering, I use the Windows 95 version of this game, and it seems to... I made a few compatibility changes using the tools Windows gives you. This is Windows 10, and this runs fine. I didn't have to use anything. I already had this game. I had the DOS version, so I was using DOSBox to play it. But I wanted to be able to move my mouse out of the window without using Alt-Tab all the time. So I found out that the Windows 95 version supposedly works fine on Windows 7. I have 10 though, so I took a chance by buying it, and it seems to work just fine. So I think it was worth it. And also, because it's a window, you can actually play this game in widescreen no matter what. played this at pretty much any aspect ratio, compared to the DOS version, which you can only do it at a 4:3 ratio. It's the only ratio that really works in DOSBox, or well, really DOS at all, because that's what the only aspect ratio that was available in DOS times was 4:3. A lot of people who use a computer, who play games on the computer, should probably know that. I'm just saying it for anyone who might not. Another thing that's nice about the Windows 95 version is there's a bunch of extra stuff on it. Like, there's a bunch of, like, saved cities and stuff, and they're all really interesting. A lot of them are really interesting. And of course there's the ones that just spam localities. I kind of like that concept because you get the most population you can possibly have that way. But I prefer not to play that way. I like to have a more traditional, like, real kind of city. So I'll even place highways. I know highways are expensive and they just make your traffic go up, but that's not really a big deal to me. Twitch City keep flourishing. Yeah, we hit the 10,000 mark. Power. Oh, wow, you're growing pretty well then. Yeah, early on you can also, if you want to, like I said, early on is usually not a good idea to do this. But once you're a little established, even if it is early, you can do one little connection to a neighbor there. I connected to the largest neighbor, so that's good. So that was probably a good choice, just doing the largest neighbor. Oh, this is a lot. That's a big plateau right there. I was hoping I could just tunnel through it to another flat side, but it doesn't look like it. But you can make tunnels. And sometimes it's a good idea to connect flat to flat if there's a lot of mountains. Keep in mind though, if you want to expand, you're going to have to destroy the tunnels. If you want to flatten everything out, that is. And I think if you flatten, a tunnel will just automatically collapse like any building does if you change the terrain around it. So the game wants some residential, does it? This is the main reason I don't really do the actual randomized terrain. That's because usually I have trouble spacing things apart because of that. I always like some of those little ambient noises, and because it's just kind of neat having ambient noises in a game from the early 90s. Because that's, I mean, they're not the best sound effects, but pretty good for a game from then. I wonder what the first game to have ambient noises is. I know the original Legend of Zelda on NES actually had some ambient noises. In dungeons, when you were near the boss room, you would hear it breathing. And that, I guess, was kind of neat. That was in the 80s. But I want to know, what's the actual first game that had ambient noises in it? I always wondered how the connections really works in this game. Like, do people actually come over from the other city once you're connected, or what? I don't even really know how it works. All I know is industry usually wants you to do it. Industry wants you to connect, it wants you to build airports. Well, commerce usually is what wants you to build the airport. But I'm assuming industry has a use for the airport too. Usually the industry will say they want a seaport. Usually. I'm just trying to wait for things to develop here. I'm gonna have to place a new block. I'm not sure where I'm going to put it though. Put it here. Oh. If I would have went one more. So we got an area up here. I'm gonna zone. It's not in demand, but I'm gonna zone some industrial down here. Because then these people may have some jobs close enough for them. Whoa, I'm not sure where I stood. Park. That's what it said. There we go. Who wants to build in the flood zone? I almost want to leave this mountain here, but I also really don't. I could leave it there and just... remove this one instead. So I may have some more streams coming up. I really didn't like using this webcam microphone. So for a while I wasn't. Oh. I'll get back into streaming though, because I really do want to. I would like becoming a big streamer, but I kind of also want to stay a little small at the same time. I don't know. I don't know how I feel. I know I could probably do a slow mode for myself on the chat if I become like a big stream. In which case I probably will most likely do that. Because I've seen what big chats turn into. They turn into some... I don't even know what that is, like a disaster or something. I just would rather... Because a lot of them are so fast you can't even really read what's popping up. Although from what I've heard, some of it, I mean, I've seen some of it is really just stupid things people are saying. Stupid, it's just reactions to things they're seeing on the stream. And I've seen sometimes a certain thing happens and the chat just instantly explodes. Something like, I guess, interesting happened in the stream. I've seen a lot of that happen, especially on Vine Sauce streams. Mostly just on Vinny's chat, though. Joel's chat is fast, but it's calmed down compared to Vinny's. Speaking of Vine Sauce, I recently thought about attempting to use the Vine Sauce corruptor. Just so then I could stream some Vine Sauce kind of streams. I don't know, but those corruption streams are hilarious. It's just the whole concept, attempting to play a game that's so corrupted it's nearly unplayable. Just to see some crazy corruptions. I saw some of those little lightning emblems down there flashing. I need another power plant. For once I was able to actually afford the new power plant. A lot of times I don't. I can't afford it. And I guess these people are saying they're too far away from industry. I'll pop a little bit in there. Okay, I gotta level some of this terrain, but I gotta be careful. See, or that happens. Oh, and I just ran all my money out. Well, just wait till I have some more. I gotta fix these roads because I live in Pennsylvania and we have, oh god, I'm KY. Vine Sauce KY. That's the one who lives in Pennsylvania, right? I forget. I don't even know what, I think he's in the Northeast Pennsylvania. I'm down here in South Central. I say South Central, it makes me sound like, I don't know, I'm not even going to talk about that, because everyone's just going to cringe. I wanted to get a full block in there with this terrain. Oh, and this was the mountain I said I wasn't going to destroy. Well, I broke that promise already, didn't I? I just wanted to put a little block in down here. It's for some industry, because these people apparently think they're too far away from it. Yeah, and I can't afford even that. I'll put some commercial down here. That's the thing you do, you don't build commercial until the demand is maximum. You technically don't have to fill these with the power lines, but you get the better spread of the zones when you do that. The only thing I would say about the Windows version is it is a little slower. You also have an extra speed. I do not use that speed, because I enabled it and it was so fast that the budget popped up so quickly that I couldn't even change the speed back. I was literally stuck. Couldn't do anything. Did they spell that wrong? Really, I just don't know what to say right now. I'm trying to think of something to talk about. This is what happens with me. I'm not used to streaming, so I talk about something until I run out, until I can't really think of anything else to add to the subject, and then I'm stuck trying to think of a new subject. It would be much easier if I had a bigger chat, or a bigger audience, I mean. Because it's hard to tell how many viewers are my viewers, I know I have someone who's viewed my streams a few times in the past. It's really hard to tell. Or if it's just the amount of times I've looked at my own channel. I really wish it wouldn't count you looking at your channel as views. Because that's like extremely confusing. Same with on YouTube. If you watch your own video, it counts as a view. Which I really don't like, because sometimes you do have to look at your own videos like to manage them and stuff, and say to manage your comment section and stuff. Well, I mean, you don't have to open it as much as you used to, but you still do from time to time. And it gets in the way. It does get in your way a little bit because of it counting your views. Because you can't really tell how many of them are other people and how many are you. It's like you have to count. Now on Twitch, I think it's even worse, because you actually end up looking at your channel a lot. And it does get in your way a bit. It gets in your way of trying to figure out if your viewers are going up or down. I mean, if you have even a decent sized audience of people who keep coming back to your videos, if you have that makes it a little easier. You can see it going up or down. But when you're so small that you have 10 or less people, your own views actually will get in your way quite a bit. It'll mess your numbers up. See, I ran out of things to talk about again with that subject. That's the thing with having so many few viewers. I'm not really motivated to talk about certain subjects because I won't have anyone to engage with me. I'd like to talk about music and other things like that, but I have no audience to talk to. And I'll be honest, I'm somewhat of a boring person, not all by myself. That's why there's like a big difference. You'll see a big difference anytime my friend comes on to the chat. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how to pause the stream or turn off the microphone or anything. So if I ever have to go and do something that might take me a little bit, even if it is not that much of, like, if it's something that takes me at least a half hour to do, I will actually have to end streams. Because I don't really know how to do the be right back thing or anything. If it's something that takes me like a half hour, I will end the stream, but I'll come back and start streaming again. The problem with using cheetah speed is you get a disaster, it's going to hit you so quickly. Alright, let's reconnect these. There. I was going to do industrial, but the demand for it's like really low right now. Oh yeah, and I just zoned commercial and it was actually a really low demand. I know one thing I can do. I just do that. It may help that little residential zone there. See, this helping a little bit. That construction showed up right as this construction did. I'm not sure what I'm doing wrong down here. The commercial zone demand is so low right now. Probably because it just zoned a bunch of it. Even though it had like no demand. Yep, the disconnected road of death. Why did you go up the mountain? Does that even count as being connected? I'm gonna laugh if that counts as being connected. I don't think it counts as being connected. we got a good income coming in. Well, I guess I just have to wait till my money builds up. Then I can do some mountain demolition over there. Because apparently the roads do have to be connected. I can do a small connection right there, probably. See, I could probably do that little connection there. I'll just put that little connection in, and the road should be okay. Okay, anyway guys, I am going to be right back. We'll be right back.
Okay guys, I'm back.
Yeah, still no new viewers, sadly. Although I had a friend of mine who was watching it tell me that it did show viewers because it was not showing a red number to me. I mean, obviously someone was viewing it because they were watching it, they were in the chat. Although I can tell my views have not went up because it's still up 37. But then again, who knows if that glitch is happening again. And might just refresh it. Because if I refresh it, then it will show me everything will be back to, well, not back to, but will appear the way it should. It also occurred to me that in the previous Roller Coaster Tycoon streams, I did not enable Twitch integration. I thought I did. I should have seen at least one. That's the name. Although apparently it did have 3 views at one small amount of time during one of the Roller Coaster Tycoon streams. My guess is maybe someone was curious and looked at it only to discover that it sounded like crap, and because even without the game sound and it's just me talking, it still sounds like crap. This is not a very good microphone, like I said before. I got a nice Turtle Beach headset sitting on my computer, but not able to connect because I need that splitter. See, what it is you can actually connect, although it has different modes, and I wonder if I were to put it on just microphone mode, if I could actually plug it in there. Something's telling me that won't work, though. It's a nice headset, though. I mean, some people like to say Razors are better. I've heard people say Razors are better. I've heard people say Razer is overrated. I'm going to boil it down to people who just have preferences. And that's really about it. It's kind of like other Star Trek and Star Wars people. I, on the other hand, am both. I like both Star Wars and Star Trek. I see good in both series. I also like Lord of the Rings, so I'm all over the place when it comes to fantasy and sci-fi stuff. In my opinion, Star Wars is kind of like a little bit of Star Trek and a lot of Lord of the Rings, if that makes sense. And then Star Trek's obviously its own thing, more of a science-based show. Whereas Star Wars doesn't really have any, like, science, anything. And some people complained about the midichlorian thing, that it doesn't sound enough like science, and I was like, I'm just thinking, I don't think that's what the midichlorians really is, though. Obviously, if any of you watch Star Wars, midichlorians are things that are in everything, and it has to do with the Force. Like Anakin Skywalker, chosen one, the Jedi will destroy the Sith. It'll become a Sith later, it's a spoiler alert, but honestly, if you haven't seen episode 5 already, why? I mean, I'm not gonna be like that kind of person where it's like, you should have watched this from the beginning. It's like, no. Let people enjoy things. Even if they're late to the party, let them enjoy the party. Like, like, there's a lot of people who didn't watch Star Wars. Some people are just assuming they don't like it. I know a lot of people like that. I've even known people who say, I hate it, and I've never seen it for once in their life. And you're saying no one's that enthusiastic about hating it. I knew one person that was. They refused to even... I wanted to watch it when they were dear. Now, you may be thinking, well, why did you watch Star Wars with a guest who didn't like it? It's like, that's not exactly what I meant. Do you remember I mentioned I was disabled? I have home care aides that come to help me do all my stuff. They basically help take care of me during the day while my mother is at work. I don't want to sound like, oh, you still live with your mother. Well, I'm disabled. I don't know what I'll do, to be honest. I know there are places where I could technically move into, but I kind of like my house too much. I like where it is. We've got woods out behind my house. There are all kinds of animals and stuff. It's nice. And so that person wasn't a home care aide. It was not a guest. And she just said she didn't even want to be in the room with me at all when I was watching it. Like, I had to go out of the room to get her attention because she didn't even want to set foot in my room when I was watching it. Like, why are you putting that much effort into hating something? And I eventually got to the point where I almost asked her if she even watched it. But yeah. I could get on a whole rant about people like that, but I'm going to try not to. I mean, it's a live stream. I may rant from time to time. I'm sorry I'm not playing, but I was uncomfortable and I had to keep tilting back over and over. So, we'll get back onto the stream. I wanted to find something to talk about since I knew I was going to tilt back. Because a lot of the times when I've tilted back, I've noticed there's been dead air. And it's not because I'm too far away from the mic or anything, it's just that, I don't know. I wish there was some kind of headphone to USB adapter. I haven't looked it up. But if I kind of wish I had made sure the Turtle Beach headset I got was either Bluetooth or USB. Because for a while we thought it was a driver issue. Turns out it's not a driver issue. I don't have a dedicated chat headset jack on my computer. Turns out if my headset works that way, I need to get a splitter if I don't have the full thing. Basically what it is I have two jacks on here. One's for the microphone, one's for headphones. Separately only. So that's the issue we have right now. Okay, so when was this built? That power plant is 7 years old. This one is obviously much older than that one. Because when they reach 50 years old, you have to replace them. Or they'll explode and catch things on fire. At least if you have disasters turned on, they will. Now, if you want to help your fire department a little bit, you can use volunteer fire department. You can even do legalized gambling, but I wouldn't do that until you could increase the police funding. And see, the game is still telling me water shortage. So what we can do to fix that, we can put some water pumps down here. For a second, I almost thought I wasn't even using my money. thought there was like a glitch happening or something. Okay, now we got all those. We gotta power the lights. That's so weird. It's acting like they were powered for a second. We got some power for that. And here's what you do. Oh. Gotta remove this now. Yeah, we got a fire. Uh-oh. Oh, we got fire. Oh. Now you can go back to placing the pipes. How did they even put it out without the pipes? That was just all of a sudden. Now usually what I do with the pipes is I just place them the same way that I place the power lines. Because eventually you're going to put subways in here. And there was someone I knew who would put their pipes right under the roads. The subways in real life usually go under the roads, and I kind of ended up liking that better. So that's what I did. Anyways, our pipes are going to basically do a ring around the map. Or like around our current city. We're also going to do a little connection to this park here. Why can I not get this thing to try? There we go. Okay, now everywhere has water. Water is a good thing because people need to drink water. I mean, obviously. I mean, did you guys know you have to drink water? Like, bet you didn't. Funny enough that it makes that using the compatibility things and disabling visual themes for this game gives me the appearance of a Windows 7 basic theme. That's what I miss, is when I miss Windows 7's theme so much. I don't like what they did in Windows 8, and to be honest, I think it got worse in Windows 10. I mean, you get a nicer looking start menu with Windows 10 than you did in 8. But I don't like the theme. Like the way your windows and everything look. I like it's still called Arrow, but I'm gonna say it's not Arrow anymore, because Arrow had, you could do transparent on like everywhere on it. In my opinion, personalization in Windows 10. Just less of it. If you guys didn't know, I'm not actually zoomed in all the way in this. But at the second zoom level, it's basically native. This is like the native resolution. Everything is pixel by pixel. If I zoomed in to the closest, it would get a little more pixely. But once I zoom in, that'll look familiar to people who play the DOS version. Honestly, if I could easily hit Alt-Tab all the time by myself. See, I even have trouble doing that. Because most of the time I play one-handed. I do play games that require two hands, but I always need help with that. So if you ever hear me talking to someone else about positioning with arms and stuff, that's usually I'm talking to one of my aides who's helping me. It is good day in Twitch City. I don't know. I don't know, but that fire's... Because all of a sudden it moved and I placed my pipes in the spot that I wasn't even at. Then I saw the little fire and I'm like, oh. It seems they rebuilt those two spaces that caught on fire. This is good. Oh, and by the way, there's the maximum zoom. Now this is going to look familiar to DOS players. This is normally what it looks like when you play it on DOSBox. And honestly, it's usually my preferred. But I was caught playing this one for today for some reason. I'm going to switch back to what I'm used to. Got a good income here. This is nice. We're doing well. Because what I'm trying to do is not build so many roads. I mean, you can build roads, but it's just... I'm gonna put this stuff down. Oh no, he has no power. The man, I have no power. I'm gonna put that there, just hide it a little bit. I mean, it's not gonna be hidden eventually. But at least it doesn't... my approval rating now? 15%! Oh my god, how am I still the mayor? Okay. We're going to pollution on this is going to be expensive. But I can afford a few things. They want hospitals now. How about we give them one? Yeah, you got a hospital. We can afford things now. Let's bump these all the way up. They demand schools too, so we're gonna do one. I should really fill this little heavy. a little sliver of it there. That's so stupid. Why did I do? Is this gonna many people? Yeah, it already has people there. School doesn't though. Well, that's because I placed the hospital and then I think it's every time the budget window pops up. I think pretty sure the response rate is bad. 10 minutes, actually, it's not that bad compared to what I have usually. I have a scare. Mine is usually scary how high it is. School's doing pretty well. Oh, they want something entertaining, don't they? Let's build a stadium. I could build a stadium, actually. It's either demanding a stadium. Let's just build a stadium. Team name. Twitch streamers. What? Okay, this is the weirdest scroll thing I've ever seen. Oh, why'd you rename it? Everyone happy? Yeah, I still don't have a stadium in my other city. My other cities. They haven't demanded it. Yeah, I always found it fun that you could name your teams and say what sport you want them to play. That was just weird though, that window. I could scroll through it, but I couldn't see it. It was big enough, the space is big enough for a drop down. I don't know why there isn't a drop down. Well, it is a drop down, but you have to scroll through it for some reason. Despite there being like 5 choices. I think the old window was better, to be honest. On the DOS version, that is. There's a stadium right next to City Hall. Because then there's a city council, when they're done like running the city, they go right to the stadium and watch the streamers play a game of baseball. It's kind of good that the citizens have something to do here now. There's even a win-lose tie thing. Like, thing when you shift click on it. It's called shift click, it's query tool or something like that. I don't know how to pronounce the word. Because I've never, literally never seen that word anywhere but in here. Query, I don't know. Kiwi? Yeah, Kiwi, that's what it is, I'm just kidding. I swear to God, I swear, if I get corrected and someone says actually it is Kiwi, I'm pretty sure it's not. Wins, losses, nothing yet. How much is the marina anyway? Oh, get your little sailboats out. Now people are pretty happy. There's a lot to do here now. Oh look. Well, we win more than they lose. That's good. That can change a lot though. I always thought it was weird having the marina as a black building. It doesn't look nice in my opinion. Okay, that thing's pretty freaking ugly, to be honest. Anyways, pretty soon here I'm going to stop the stream. I'm going to stop streaming, I'm going to get on another game and then start streaming that game. Although there may be a little bit of a delay between that and when this ends and that starts though, because I'm going to be uploading this to YouTube. And I'm going to have to set up the upload and everything and then put all the tags in the video and stuff, and then I can start the other stream. I can do that with it uploading in the background. Everything should be fine. At least I hope everything's fine with you doing that. Once it's 11:25, that's what I'll be doing. I'm gonna try and finish off Katie's World and Roller Coaster Tycoon. Maybe even start another scenario, I don't know. I'm gonna even start attempting to stream after 6. Because my mom's home then. So maybe there will be a little bit of interruption. Maybe you'll hear my mom in the background a few times. I don't know. Surprised the phone hasn't ring at all today. Shouldn't say that. Now it's going to ring over and over and over. Probably because I'm usually not up as early as I got up today. It's getting close to the time that it starts to ring like crazy. Well, the last couple of days it hasn't ring very much though. We constantly get these stupid scam numbers. It's annoying. Anyways, I am going to be ending this stream, and we are going to be starting the next one after I set up the upload. So I will see you shortly.